We are back here on HQ Spotlight, and we're still playing Matchmaker, but this time we are now moving to the AFC North. Which free agents are a good fit for these teams? Steelers, Bengals, Ravens, Browns. And with that, we say hello again to Ryan Wilson and John Breech. And with the Steelers, Mike McCarthy is at the helm, though we don't know whether or not Aaron Rodgers will be back at quarterback for another season. But guys, if we're looking at free agent receivers, Ryan, who would be a good fit in Pittsburgh, maybe with or without Rodgers?
Hey, Tiffany, good to see you. This is going to be interesting because I'm a Steelers fan. Breech is a Bengals fan. I'm going to see how he's going to try to ruin my team that's already in a bad way. So I'm going to go wide receiver here. I'm going to go Romeo Doubs, and I'm going to go that because they had no number 2 receiver last year. No disrespect to Calvin Austin or Adam Thielen off the bench or MVS off the couch. Romeo Doubs is so good at what he does in terms of stretching the field for his quarterback. He can win at all 3 levels, and he opens things up for DK, which became a huge issue last year when it was clear that there was no one else to throw to that wasn't named Darnell Washington if you're Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, you got to sort out the quarterback situation. If it's not Rodgers, maybe you roll with Will Howard, whatever the case may be. At least give that quarterback some weapons beyond DK Metcalf. Try to sign Kenneth Gainwell if you can, and then Romeo Doubs in the mix makes this offense slightly more explosive.
Yeah, we are on the same page here, Wilson. You actually forgot to mention that Romeo Doubs used to be a teammate of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, and as we know, there is nothing Aaron Rodgers likes more than hunting down an old teammate, bringing him to his new team so they can have a new connection, whether it's Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers. He does that at every stop, so I am not going with a former Rodgers teammate, though. I am going with a 49ers receiver in Juwan Jennings, and we're going to see him hit free agency. And as you mentioned, Ryan, when you look at that depth chart at receiver for the Steelers, there's DK Metcalf, and there is not a lot behind him. So if you're the Steelers, you have to make it a priority to go out and get someone who can be a strong number 2 guy behind Metcalf, and that's exactly what Jennings can do. He's kind of been the unsung hero of the 49ers offense this past offseason, really, when they were dealing with all of those injuries, and it does seem like he is on his way out, and Pittsburgh would be a solid landing spot. And as you said, it doesn't matter who's quarterback. It could be Aaron Rodgers. It could be Will Howard. Maybe they end up with Kirk Cousins. Who knows who ends up under center for Steelers, but that quarterback is going to need someone to throw to, and that's why Juwan Jennings would be a good fit in Pittsburgh.
John, did you see what Ryan did earlier? He did that, not meaning to be disrespectful thing, but then went on to be disrespectful to the guys that were there. Just seeing if we're setting the tone for the rest of this segment. On to the Ravens now. It's safe to say Lamar Jackson is still their QB. Jesse Minter is their new head coach. And if they're looking to maybe add some speed to that receiver position, Ryan, who should this team look at?
Yeah, let's be disrespectful once more. So producer James sent the questions out. I hustled to get this in because I love the idea of this. I didn't want Breech to beat me to it. I love the idea of Tyreek Hill landing in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. They have Zay Flowers, of course, and sometimes you don't want 2 smallish quotation marks receivers on the field. Zay Flowers and Tyreek Hill would be the exception. And we know that Tyreek is going to come a little cheaper than he might historically had he not gotten hurt last year and wanted out, it felt like, of South Florida. But the idea of him going to a winner in Baltimore, and there are rumors that he may try to get back to KC as well, this feels more like the Kansas City situation than it did when once he got down there with Tua and company. And he is electric, and I can tell you that no team, AFC North or otherwise, wants to have to face him 6 times, 5 times a season, whatever it is. So I think he is a perfect fit in Baltimore. I think Lamar Jackson would be ecstatic. We know there was some friction by the end between him and Todd Monken, and it would take this offense, especially in the wide receiver room, to the next level because they have struggled to find a consistent number 1 and number 2 in Baltimore virtually since that team came into existence.
And Wilson, let's not forget, there is no team in the NFL that loves to take an older receiver and try and squeeze another year or 2 out of him more than the Ravens. We saw them do it with Odell Beckham a few years ago. We saw him do it with DeAndre Hopkins, and now Tyreek Hill would make a lot of sense. But I'm not going to send a receiver to Baltimore. I'm actually going to go to the offensive line and look at the center position. We were just talking about how Tyler Linderbaum will likely be leaving Baltimore unless he can get a long-term deal done with the Ravens between now and March 11th. If that does not happen, they need a center. This is a team that thrives on having a strong offensive line. They've had one of the top 2 rushing attacks in the NFL for 3 straight years, so you don't want to lose a lot at center. So what should they do? Go get Connor McGovern, who is about to be a free agent. So I think that is one important thing to keep in mind for the Ravens, is that if you do lose Linderbaum, there are options out there. And Linderbaum is a great player, a 3-time Pro Bowler, high caliber center. But the fact that you have someone like McGovern available, who will likely come at a much lower price. Here I am shopping with Wilson in the bargain bin at Walmart. No, McGovern is not that, though. He's one of the top 3 centers that's going to be available, and he'd be a great addition to Baltimore if Linderbaum ends up leaving.
I was going to say, you can't overstate the importance of that position, especially with the run game that they have. Let's flip to defense, and we're going to head to Cincinnati, because that was a rough season for them. Bottom of the league against the run, points allowed, you name it. What free agent are you adding to help that team improve, John?
I am going to add a linebacker. I know that pass rush is one of the biggest problems, especially if Trey Hendrickson is leaving. Joseph Asai could be leaving, so you're losing 2 of your top pass rushers. But I think the Bengals need a true leader at the linebacker position. You look at what they had last season. They decide to do a little baptism by fire by throwing 2 rookies in there, Barrett Carter, Demetrius Knight, and both guys got better as the season went along. But I think if you throw someone like Devin Lloyd in there, and he is not going to come cheap. So yes, Mike Brown is going to have to break his piggy bank open and kind of break the bank to bring Lloyd in there. But I think the attitude in Cincinnati right now is, we have to get better on defense. We're going to have to pay. We're going to have to fork over some money. So although this would be out of character for the Bengals to make a move like this, I could see it working, because they know they have to get better. They have a Super Bowl contending offense. They need to match that on defense, and Devin Lloyd would be a great fit with the Bengals.
I love this, Breech, because it points to the fact that there are a ton of needs on that defense beyond edge rush, and Devin Lloyd would be a huge addition to that unit. And if there's any trepidation about spending money in Cincinnati, they should play the late season Joe Burrow press conference clip where it looked like he was ready to quit football altogether, on a loop in that building, to remind everyone that he is the straw that stirs the drink on offense and in the organization. So along those lines, I'm going to continue to help the defense. I'm going with Jalen Phillips, who is probably an upgrade over Trey Hendrickson, at least in terms of age. He's in his mid-20s, so he's still got another 5-6 years left. He came in that trade from Miami to Philly, and he played really well over the second half of the season, and he is going to get paid this offseason, but it's not going to be, it may be less than what Trey Hendrickson ends up receiving on the open market. So they have a ton of cap space, the Bengals do. If they get Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips in free agency, that feels like 2 grand slams in back-to-back innings, and you have to feel really good about the direction of where the Bengals are going in this offseason, heading into the draft, if they're able to land 2 capable players like that on defense, Stephanie.
And I really hope it doesn't come to them putting that Burrow press conference on the loop there. I feel like that could apply maybe for so many people in different areas of their life as well. Okay, on to the Browns. They have their new head coach in Todd Monken. He said at the Combine, Shedeur Sanders can be QB1. He's excited to work with him. Ryan, which free agent are you looking to help build around him?
Yeah, let's keep the reunion theme, easy for me to say, going here. So whether Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, a quarterback we haven't yet talked about, a quarterback's favorite player on the team is the running back, and then followed by the tight end. And we know that even in Kevin Stefanski's offense, they love 2 and 3 tight end sets. They drafted Harold Fannin Jr., who had a fantastic rookie campaign. David Njoku is almost certainly going to hit the open market. So let's get Todd Monken and his tight end from Baltimore back together, and Isaiah Likely, who was underutilized at times last season, but I think he is an upgrade over David Njoku in terms of his downfield playmaking ability. We know they still have Mark Andrews, and they re-upped him in Baltimore, so that meant Isaiah was likely to hit the open market, and he would be the soon-to-be best friend for whoever the quarterback is in Cleveland. And shout out to Cleveland for going about fixing the offensive line as we speak. So they made some moves already today. They have 2 draft picks in the first round. They can continue to do that. And in the meantime, let's get some playmakers for the quarterback and maybe use one of those first-round picks on a wide receiver if they so choose as well.
Ryan, I am glad you brought up the offensive line, because do you know how many Browns starting offensive linemen are about to hit free agency? All of them. Every single one of them. The Browns have 0 starters coming back. They are essentially an expansion team when it comes to the offensive line, which is why they went out and made a trade for Titus Howard on Monday morning. So now, instead of having 0 people on the offensive line, they have a right tackle. Well, I'm going to give them a left tackle, and I'm going to say they should go out and spend some big money on Rasheed Walker from Green Bay. The Browns have to build a strong offensive line. That's the foundation of a great offense. You can sign someone like Isaiah Likely, but if your quarterback doesn't have any time to throw, Isaiah Likely is likely not going to see very many passes. So you have to do something to help your quarterback, to help your offense. And if you have the chance to build an offensive line from scratch, which is what the Browns have here, why not go out and get the best left tackle available in free agency? You don't see guys like Rasheed Walker hit free agency too often. You already made a trade for a right tackle. And then in the draft or even free agency, you can fill in the guards, maybe the center, but you have 2 of your key positions filled. That would be a smart move from Cleveland. We haven't seen a ton of smart moves from them, but this is the year where they can do it.
And maybe they avoid the bargain bin then?
No bargains for Cleveland. Pay big.
No bargains.
Pay up.
Big. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later. All right, now let's look at the odds for each of these teams to win the AFC North. And when you look at it for the Ravens, yeah, they are the favorite. The Browns, they are a long shot.